Welcome to tonight's Wednesday night edition of the Klown Podcast. I'm Scott Burks. Hello. Please check them out at www.theclowntimes.net. That's Clown spelled with K. You see it. We barely see it on the lighting here on the hat. And speaking of which, you can get the merch at kevinpress.com. Search for the Clown Time Sports. You find it there, as well as far as hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. Is there an article Klown out there? It's probably on that website. So anyway, go to kevinpress.com. Search for the Clown Time Sports. You can find it there as well. The link will be in the description of this video on YouTube. And last but not least, well, two things. Look for me on Facebook, y'all. So whether you're on your smartphone, laptop, desktop, wherever you are, where you may be, go to facebook.com, type in the Clown Times. Again, that's Clown spelled with K. You find me there as well. Haven't been making a fool of myself these days, the last couple of weeks, but with the NFL draft rolling around, I promise you I'll ramp that up. And last but not least, please continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I have over 640 subscribers right now. So that's 640 right now. So that's goody. Trying to get to that golden 1,000 mark. So anyway, even if you do not like what I or my co-host or my guest would say tonight, just comment anyway. And because at the end of it, you'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did. And speaking of my guest, y'all know this brother from New York /HBCU Sports, rest for all things HBCU Sports. That's where it's Sleazy Widow every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, his great work. Check out his great work on herosports.com as he writes about all things FCS athletics as they pertain to HBCU sports. Wayne Nash is back in the house. How you doing, brother?
Man, Scott, I am doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I am peachy keen, damn it. Long day at work, doing some database programming nerd things, but hey, still getting a decent check and I'm still alive. So let's get to it, man. Speaking of alive and getting a decent check, let's start with Lamar Jackson. NFL free agency is here. The draft is next month. All these trades going on, all these free agent signings going on, but the biggest one I mentioned earlier was going to be two, but we'll get to the first one in a second. Right now, it's Lamar Jackson. Now, y'all know that he signed the non-exclusive tag, franchise tag by the Ravens, which means that the Ravens, while Jackson could be free to negotiate with other teams, that the Ravens could match any offer, receive 2 first-round picks that they decide not to match. So basically, depending on who you and what you believe, apparently the Ravens made him a deal, or actually he's pursuing a multi-year deal that's fully guaranteed at least $200 million. He wants to get above Deshaun Watson, basically. Because let's be real, in Jackson's defense, he is more accomplished than Deshaun Watson. He has a unanimous MVP. He has taken his team to the playoffs. He has won a game in the playoffs. So he's more accomplished than Deshaun Watson, minus the baggage, the off-field baggage as well. It just seems like the Ravens are saying, no, we're not going to do this. And again, according to who you believe, the other teams around the league who don't need a quarterback are saying, since you're saying the same thing, let's reset this quarterback market. Let's keep it getting out of hand. All the things, blah, blah, blah. But first of all, before we get on any further with Lamar Jackson, what are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson? Is he doing the right thing by holding out? Should he sign the contract? What should the brother be doing if you were advising him?
If I were advising him, if he felt as though that he is fiscally comfortable enough to make this type of move and see how everything plays out, then sure, do so.
Right.
The problem is, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have any advisement whatsoever, he just doesn't have any representation.
Which is a huge problem.
Sorry. I take that back. He doesn't have any representation that is league approved.
Right.
And that's where this issue comes into play.
Yes.
Now, there have been some people, and I've talked about this ad nauseum years ago when we talked about the Colin Kaepernick situation and why or why not teams aren't signing him.
Right.
My answer to that is that they're the owners of their businesses or their organizations, and they get to do whatever they want to do.
The hell they want.
Even if those moves will cut off their nose to spite their face. But I completely understand why there might be some organizations that don't want to take that jump with Lamar Jackson solely because of his injury history. We talk about how decorated he is. Of course, 2019,
Right.
he was the league MVP, but of course, quoting the great Janet Jackson song, "What have you done for me lately?"
Dun, 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 dun. Right.
And the last time he was supposed to be on the field, which was during the playoff game against the Steelers, he was criticized by a few of his teammates when they felt as though that he should have been out there playing.
Yes, remember that.
You compound the injury history, the exorbitant amount of money that he's looking for, and the fact that there may be some teams that are willing to be spenders and some organizations that are looking to do the cheap route because, quite frankly, they don't have the funds to go after him. And this is what you get. It's unfortunate. You know, there are a lot of people, well, there's some people who attempted to go the race route. And my response to that is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Because there was one team that was willing to play a brother who pretty good, but his accolades just didn't match the things in which Lamar Jackson has done.
Correct.
Along with, of course, his criminal past, allegedly. And my God, you just chalk up a lot of things that teams just don't want to get involved in. And of course, the franchise tag, meaning that you have to give up 2 first-round picks. So you're talking about a few organizations. The number one organization that's been thrown out often this week has been, of course, the team that in which I root for, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna need people to reset their mindset in terms of free agency as it pertains to the Redskins / football team / Commanders and get out of that 2006 way of thinking of what this team was looking to do and look at what they're currently doing now. They don't have a ton of money. They have a ton of holes that they need to fill, especially on the offensive line. And then, of course, within the secondary, a couple of spots in which they did address during free agency. Now, you can't address all of those spots and then, in my opinion, go after Lamar Jackson and give up 2 first-round draft picks and hope to make this team competitive in the near future. Now, if you want to play that dice game and hope Lamar comes back and hope that he's healthy and hope that he plays a full 17 and hope that he makes this team a playoff team and hope that they make a deep run, so be it.
Right.
But I would rather put that hope on a cheaper bet than a more expensive bet that I'm not sure of whatsoever. You call me whatever you want, but that's just the way that I look at it. And there have been some people who have come out against the Commanders and said, well, you threw a lot of money, and I'm doing it in air quotes, at Carson Wentz last year with his injury history being worse than Lamar's. I'll come back to that and say, well, one, the price tag was a lot cheaper than what Lamar it would be, what the Ravens would be getting if you get involved in Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. And 2, you would hope that with Carson Wentz, that with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and go on down the line of all of the QBs that Ron Rivera felt as though would be good enough to turn this program around since he's been in Washington. And all of the bets that he tried to make just didn't work.
Right.
It didn't. But I completely understand the whole concept of the Commanders are looking to have a new flashy owner come in town. It would be wonderful if they had a new flashy quarterback to do so, to turn this organization around. Unfortunately, what your mama used to say, you want McDonald's? You got McDonald's money? Sorry. The Commanders do not have McDonald's money at this point in time. And, you know, along with, again, the injury history, and I would steer away from that. But no one's pointing up the fact that, hey, the Atlanta Falcons should be going after Lamar Jackson because of the need that they have at QB. You know, but calling out Atlanta and calling out Washington, one is more sexier than the other. And not because the owner and his cronies have been known to send butt-naked photos and grope women in their organization. But like I said, the Atlanta Falcons, The Detroit Lions, if you believe that, what's your boy's name? Jared Goff.
I don't think they'll get rid of Jared Goff, though. I think they love Jared Goff there.
No, I believe that they do too. And again, I wouldn't do it either. But the whole comparison of who's better, Lamar or Sam Howell. Okay, who's better between Lamar and Jared Goff? Right?
Yeah. I think it's all about the mix too, right? In the match. I think Jared Goff is just out of nowhere became dude that fell out of heaven for Detroit. And Detroit came this close to making the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, by coach biting by the ankles. But how about this, man? In addition to your squad in Atlanta, I mean, because I think he'd be a lot better than their QB right now. I know they got rid of Marcus Mariota, and there's now second-year player. I forget his name. Played at UC. His name escapes me right now.
Ritter.
Yeah. Desmond Ritter. But I heard Indianapolis.
Yes, that's another place. With their current quarterback situation, is Lamar Jackson technically better than that? Yes. Is Lamar Jackson technically better than what's going on with the Jets? Matter of fact, you have a younger QB versus an older QB in Aaron Rodgers as a potential guy that you're targeting. Why aren't the Jets going after him? And I would say that the New York market is a lot more sexier than the DC market. But if that's what you want to do, I get it. New owner on the horizon. Hopefully, you go ahead and turn this franchise around. That a lot of people who understand the history of the league knows that this team could potentially be a pillar of the league again if they're good again. And of course, in this league, it takes a great quarterback in order to do so. Right. But I completely understand why the Commanders aren't doing it, and wonder why a lot of other organizations are not.
You know what, though? Speaking of Janet Jackson earlier, West Virginia Jackson earlier, all it takes for one team to say, when I think of you, right? Think about Lamar Jackson. All it takes is one. Remember, it took just one for your boy Deshaun Watson, right? Cleveland came out of nowhere and negotiated against themselves for some stupid reason. It takes one. Sure, all the owners are holding steady right now, mainly because Lamar doesn't have a certified agent or approved NFLPA approved agent, that is really hurting him more than anything. It's like, stop being cheap, pay the 3%, pay the 3% and get your thing moved. Because to me, if he already had an agent, not only would his ass be out of Baltimore, he would have had to go into a contract elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. But you know what?
For being cheap.
To his defense, and to quote one of my favorite quotes from the sitcom Martin, I can't handle the 5, bruh. I can't handle the 5. If you don't know what that is, go ahead, Google that and look that up.
Yes, please. Y'all Google that, you young folks out there.
Yeah, so I get why he doesn't want to do it, but I understand and don't like how he's being forced to do something that he doesn't want to or have to do.
Now, let me just say this before we move on to the next player of the hour, if you will. This is saying that there's traction on other teams wanting Lamar Jackson services. Let's just for the sake of argument, let's just say that. What team out there, obviously outside of Baltimore, would be a perfect damn match for Lamar Jackson, where he can bring to the table?
Wow.
To make the money work, too.
And make the money work?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The only team the teams that can make the money work aren't necessarily in win now mode right now.
Sure.
And a lot of teams that could use him that are currently in win now mode, the Jets, the Dolphins, oddly enough. And I know there are a lot of people who are saying that, they have Tua, but we've already seen that Tua is Mr. Glass and dealt with 2 head injuries last season, and wondering whether or not he'll be able to stay upright himself this upcoming season. And again, they're making moves by adding players defensively, by trading for Jalen Ramsey. I forget the other defensive tackle that they most definitely added. and then with Vic, was it Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Hopefully that team defensively improves.
Right.
And if that's the case, insert QB here, right?
Right.
And again, who do you trust more, and who are you willing to spend money on? And I understand why the Dolphins probably wouldn't be willing to spend the money on him. But if you want to go ahead, call out a team, man, we call out all the teams, man. What did Nino Brown say, man? This thing is bigger than me, man. This thing's bigger than me.
Oh man, you and the pop culture references. I love it. It's true though. I think, man, more teams want Lamar Jackson with the leader on, whether that what they have been the lead, what they've been led on. I think Atlanta is prime for it. I mean, think about with Lamar Jackson indoors on turf, albeit field turf, but still, that could be the Michael Vick experience 2.0.
Yes, it could.
It could easily be the Michael Vick experience 2.0.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar has legs like Michael, has an arm like Michael. I mean, come on. And it's in Chocolate City, that's in Atlanta, Georgia. Come on, man. What are we talking about?
You have that, right? And then again, for those who aren't familiar with DC and its history of QBs that have recently hurt themselves at FedEx. Fitzpatrick. Carson Wentz.
Robert Griffin III.
Alex Smith. Robert Griffin III. That field is basura. Straight trash.
Yeah.
And you talk about you want to test that knee out on that field? No, there's no way in the world. There's no way in the world I am making that type of investment on a QB and hoping that he stays upright on that turf. That's the one thing no one is talking about is that trash turf and how it has wreaked havoc on QB's knees in recent years. Dating back the past 10 years.
And an opposing quarterback's knee too, even though he got it by a hit, was Joe Burrow.
Oh, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I may or may not be wrong about this, but not this past season, but the season prior, I believe that Jalen Hurts had a little knee issue after the game there in DC at the end of the season. So no, I'm not doing it.
So, nope, not me. I ain't doing it. Nope, not me. So I think, man, I think Atlanta and Indianapolis would be great landing spots for Lamar Jackson because both play indoors, both play on turf, and Indianapolis has a better team surrounding him, at least on paper, than the Falcons do. But the Falcons, to me, man, that's the Michael Vick 2.0 just waiting to happen. Michael Vick experience 2.0 just waiting to happen. Make it happen, Arthur Blank, Mr. Blank, excuse me. Make it happen, sir. It's too good of a match. And maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows? But I think that should happen. That definitely should happen. Speaking of quarterbacks, big-time quarterbacks who may be on the move, I talked about, we just discussed Lamar Jackson. Enter one Aaron Rodgers, right? Will he or won't he, right? The Packers are looking to get rid of him. They all but said, we're tired of his ass wanting to, right? Even though we're stupid to sign him to a contract extension 2 off seasons ago that goes $60 million guaranteed. Stupid on that part. But anyway, then you have the Jets, who are so enamored with them. Ownership flew out to see Aaron Rodgers and talk to him about what's going on with them. Aaron Rodgers has since put together a wish list of guys to bring in, i.e. Alan Lazard, who the Jets just recently signed not too long ago to a free agent deal. Mercedes Lewis is tied in Green Bay. And a couple, Randall Cobb, one of his homeboys, who's a wide receiver in Green Bay. And if you look at the Jets team, man, they're more than ready to win now. They got a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yes, they do.
Young studs on the corners, man in the corner. One led by Sauce Gardner, who I saw here at University of Cincinnati. That dude's the truth. He was the truth at UC. He's damn sure the truth in New York. And they got a defensive-minded coach, Robert Saleh, who's pretty damn good himself. They were just a quarterback away from making the playoffs because Zach Wilson's a fucking bust. Let's just call it what it is. And he seems to be more interested in banging older chicks and his boys' moms than actually learning the playbook. Yes, I said it, right? So now I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him for banging hot chicks, but older chicks. But hey, you gotta get your hand in the playbook instead. So anyway, the point is
instead of other places, yes.
Right. Well, yeah. Other worldly places. Yeah. So it will makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world for the Jets to shoot their shot and go out there one Aaron Rodgers. Now they're haggling apparently over compensation. And if I'm the Jets, I'm in the captain's seat. I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks, knowing that you, Green Bay, want to unload him. If anything, give him a first. No, not even give him the first. Give them maybe a 3rd rounder. But sure as hell not give him the first round. So what's Green Bay gonna do? Hold on to him? All Aaron Rodgers has to do is not show up and make them cut him.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So
you're right about that.
So eventually he's gonna be a Jet. Anyway, with all this going on, do you think that the Jets would be an instant Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers on the roster right now?
I don't know, right? Because he's going to be competing in a very tough AFC, in a very tough AFC East. Yes. Will Josh Allen and the Bills rebound after last year? How will the Dolphins fare with this new defense and a new defensive coordinator? Right. And them keeping that running back room intact. God, I don't even want to bring up the Patriots, but excuse me, but they've actually made some moves too to stay competitive in that division. And then you go outside of that division, you got the Bengals, you got the Chiefs, you got who else in that division in that conference?
I think the Chargers would be better this year. They just got to figure out a way to get their coaching together. But
I don't know. I'm concerned about the Eckler situation where he wants out.
Yes, that's something to keep an eye on, most definitely. So
yeah, and you combine that with the lack of moves that they've made because they haven't had the fiscal ability to do so. Yeah, I'm a little concerned. Will Sean Payton help turn around the Denver Broncos? We don't know. My God, who else in the AFC now?
He put Russell Wilson on blast, though.
Yeah, of course he did.
He put him on notice because Wilson sucked up the joint last year. Yeah, he put him on notice.
Is Jacksonville for real?
I like Trevor Lawrence. I like him a whole hell of a lot. Yeah, I love him at Clemson, and I figure once he gets going to get a team around him in Jacksonville, he's going to make some noise, and they finally got a coach who's worth a damn, and Doug Peterson, aka Dougie P.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and God, you talk about other teams that are QB needy that no one brings up in terms of they need to be targeting Lamar Jackson. The Tennessee Titans. Titans.
But would they be able to hang on to Derrick Henry though?
Henry wants out. So, what do you do in that situation? But they're also QB needy too. So, the key is whether or not he'll be able to turn the team around and be good enough to compete in the playoffs. I'm not even worried about what he's going to do in the regular season. Right. It's what he does in the playoffs because we've seen him time and time again in recent years come up short.
Right.
And, that's the last thing this Jets fan base wants to see. As much hype has been tossed out there for this man. And with the Jets out here flirting almost as much, if not more, than Dwayne Wayne in the first season of A Different World. My God, they look thirsty out here.
Dude, let me just say this. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is ready for the scoop. That's gonna await him in New York.
Oh,
He's used to having his way with the Green Bay media. When I say Green Bay media, I mean like Madison, pardon me, maybe Milwaukee, Appleton, but not big pressure cooker, right?
No.
These people in New York want to win it, and they want to win it now. And, you know, and it's bad enough that they're the little brothers, if you will, to the Giants in the same stadium. But there are a lot of hardcore Jets fans out there. And again, they're part of that New York media, sports media. I'm telling you, Aaron, look, I understand you won out of Green Bay. They drafted your backup, your successor, not really helping the skill position players all that much. They've underachieved heavily while he was a quarterback and when Brett Favre was a quarterback. I mean, look, Green Bay as an organization has underachieved. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but if you think about the quarterback that they had over the last 20 plus years, with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers being with multiple winning MVPs, right? To only have 2 Super Bowl titles, 2, and there's 20 plus years to show for it. I mean, no disrespect to you. I know how much you love this team, but that's Atlanta Braves shit right there.
It is. It most definitely is. And I understand completely that pain firsthand of seeing an organization get as close as they can and just coming up short over and over again. The
All
one
those
thing that
titles too. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And the one thing that Aaron Rodgers cannot do is come to New York, be sub 500 by weeks 6, 7, 8, and 9 and tell that media to relax. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. That's going to go really bad for me if he tells the New York media to just relax.
Yeah.
And go into like a darkness retreat or experiment with psychedelic drugs in South America somewhere. That's not going to go at all in New York, especially underachieving.
What we're not going to do is sit here and forget about the fact that one of the greatest players, not only in the history of a New York franchise, but potentially the NFL, played in the 80s as high as a kite.
Oh, Lawrence Taylor, who, by the way, is in the first Ring of Honor in the Madden Ring of Honor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yes. Yeah. Greatest defensive player of all time. Yes.
Lawrence Taylor. So as long as he's winning, they don't care what he's using.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And the stories that Bill Parcells has about that dude are legendary.
Yes.
Absolutely legendary. Now, before we proceed, man, let's talk about my sponsor, BetUS.com. Speaking of NFL. So, Listen Sports Bettors, your favorite sports book, BetUS.com is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign of up to 200%. BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in for all your favorite sports, including NFL, UFC, and MLB. So if you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds boosters, props, and parlays, they got them. And how about fast payouts and exceptional one-on-one customer service? They have that too. So log into betus.com or call 1-800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. You can use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times as well. BetUS.com, where the game begins. All right, man. Let's close out the show with something that's been going on the past week and change. It's going to continue starting Thursday night. That's the NCAA tournament. Now, I have to ask you, man. I'm going to put you on first for a little bit. How's your bracket?
Well, before I even did my bracket, I gave a disclaimer. Hey, if it wasn't MEAC, SWAC, to a certain degree, because I'll be honest, had I been a lot more in-depth in the SWAC, I would have stuck to my Texas Southern pick back in early February about them winning the conference tournament. But I kind of backed off of it, and surprise, surprise. But yeah, the MEAC, the CIAA, and then of course at times the SWAC and the SEAC. If it wasn't those, I wasn't watching. And I would just get reports from friends every week. Oh my God, have you looked at the top 25? Who's in the top 25? Who are these Bamas? Purdue? Xavier? What? God, what is this? Oh my God. So Alabama? But Alabama is playing like a juggernaut right now. So
Alabama's
I can't.
the team to beat. Alabama's nice. They got that freshman,
Yes.
that Miller, Brandon Miller. Woo-wee. Go ahead.
Yeah. So throughout the season, it's just been a head scratcher for me. So going into my bracket, I tried to do a process that I had never done before.
Okay.
And my God, did it fail me? Which was looking at adjusted defensive equivalency.
Analytics.
And doing matchups based on that. And whoever had the best defensive equivalency, I would make that pick unless I just felt a little bit more confident about taking that pick against others. But with the remaining 16 teams, I have 6 teams left.
Okay.
Horrible. But of those 6 teams, 3 of them are in my Final Four.
Okay.
In Alabama, Houston, and I believe UCLA. So, I thought I did well with at least that. But again, there were spots in which I tried to pick upsets, and in certain spots they worked, other spots they did not. My favorite spot that did not work, but kind of worked, Mississippi State and Pittsburgh. So I took Mississippi State to move on to the Sweet 16. Of course, by the time I turned in my bracket, that first 4 games is played, and of course, Pitt wins. I look at that bracket, and I'm like, I'll stick with Pitt. And hooray me! Boy, did I stumble upon that one. But of course, Virginia, Purdue.
Who saw that coming?
Who knew?
Who really
right?
saw Purdue coming? Right.
Who knew? But
yeah.
You would think that in the past, the past 3 tournaments, Purdue has lost to a 13, a 16, and I believe either a 14 or a 15.
They don't do well in the tournament. Yeah. No matter how big those cornbread boys are, and
they're not.
West Lafayette, they still don't do well in the tournament. Let me just tell you something, man. My bracket is the tale of 2 halves. All right, I'm gonna start with my left side, my right side of the bracket, and work my way to the left.
Okay.
Now, if you look at my Midwest region, starting the upper right hand, I'm doing pretty well in that bracket. That side of the bracket. In fact, I only got 1 wrong.
Wow.
That was Texas A&M beating Penn State. I had that one totally wrong.
Yeah, I actually picked Penn State in that one. Yeah.
So, but other than that, Houston, Miami, Xavier, whoever the 2 seed is, I had all those right. Well, Texas, I had those right. And if you go down to the West, beneath the Midwest region, you go down to the West bracket beneath it. I have half of the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I have Gonzaga and UCLA. I got that matchup correct. And I still, in both regions, I still have my Final Four representatives. And Houston in the Midwest, and I have Gonzaga in the West. I'm going with the Mr. Mustache himself, Timmy. Now, if you let's go over to the west, to the left side of my bracket. Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. Let's start.
If you want to call it interesting.
Oh, you're going to laugh your ass off at this. In the South, in the upper left-hand corner, all my teams are done except for 1.
Wow.
Alabama. Alabama is the only team that's not only available, but it's that's my Final Four pick. So technically, I have those 3 teams alive. I have that team alive, but man, that bracket outside of Alabama, woo child. I did not. No one had Princeton beating Arizona the way they. No one also had Princeton. I'll get to them in a minute.
I don't know. Shout out to Sweet Lou of Sleazy Sports. He actually picked Princeton to beat Arizona.
Good. Wow, that's just something. He knows something that we don't know. But yeah, all that I'll get all that crazy stuff in the South. Like, well, also, yeah, Virginia losing to Furman. When they had a 4-point lead with seconds left to go, then when Virginia like choked through the game, literally threw the game away.
They literally threw the game away. Yeah. And real quick, the funny part is they were the pariah that day until Purdue and Arizona. And yeah, that changed the complexion. We almost forget about Virginia and what happened with them. Yeah. But that's another program in recent years that has most definitely struggled against double-digit seeds. And I don't know what Bennett is going to do. My God.
He has that one title. He won that national title a few years ago to actually redeem themselves from that loss against University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the Terriers. So he did do that. But yeah, to your point, outside of that, it's been pretty spotty. Now, speaking of Purdue, I'm glad you brought Purdue. Let's go down to the Eastern region.
Whew.
I have no one. All my picks are done. Shot to hell. Gonzo, done. No one coming out of that region whatsoever. You know who I had coming out of the region? You're gonna laugh at hard about this. I had Marquette.
No, I'm not.
Marquette, for some reason, would parlay that Big East tournament title and cruise the way to the Final Four. I did not like Purdue from the jump, so I didn't drink that Kool-Aid. But I actually had Purdue losing the Sweet 16 to Duke, if you could believe that. But man, the way Michigan State dominated them, I slept on Coach Izzo, and I know better than sleep on Coach Tom Izzo. I know better than that. I'm a big fan of his. He comes up big in the tournament. He overachieves the tournament. I should have known, bro.
Two things, right? Izzo as a 6 seed or worse, and then if you're a conspiracy theorist in terms of
7 seed,
he comes in as a 7 seed this year. And then if you're a conspiracy theorist that believes that the script to the tournament has already been written, you want to go ahead and add a feel-good story to that? The shooting on campus that happened just a few months earlier.
That's right.
Had I remembered that, I would be like, "Oh, the script writers, let's go!" and took that. But I completely forgot about that tragedy. I don't want to say that in a way that people think that I am belittling the incident that happened in Michigan. But it most definitely feels like a feel-good story with that team moving on to the Sweet 16.
Well, yeah, so basically, so like you, I have 3 of my Final Four picks left. That's the good news. Bad news is I don't have much room for error because, again, Alabama is the only pick I have left that I got right in the they're the South region. Yeah, in the South region. And I totally footballed the East region. No, the East region. So
you and me both. Yeah.
So totally football. That region's over. So, but who had, aside from your boy Sweet Lou, who had Purdue in the Sweet 16? Who had FAU in the Sweet 16?
No one. I don't even think Lou had Purdue, not Purdue, but Princeton in the Sweet 16. But he most definitely had them as a first round upset, if my memory serves me correctly. So, yeah, you do have that. But, all I'm doing now is just waiting to see how the rest of these games play out and see how my bracket survives or doesn't. But if it don't, remember, my caveat, I ain't watching no games. So what you going to do?
Well, in my defense, there was a time I used to watch a lot of college basketball.
Yes, right?
Now, I don't know I don't watch much these days because, in large part, I don't know who in the hell these kids are.
No, because a lot of these kids are one-and-done situations.
Yes.
And this is the argument that I most definitely had with Coach after the upsets, Coach of Sleazy Sports, after the upset started to come in. Because, of course, he is highly excited about an expansion of the college football playoffs, and is hoping that something similar where lower seed teams in that playoff ends up coming through with wins. The only problem is, unlike college basketball, where a lot of these big name programs are losing guys in one and dones, be it that they're leaving after one season to go test their waters in pro, or they're going into the transfer portal.
Right.
You have these smaller programs, these lower seeds that are staying together for 2, 3, 4 years. And then if you want to count COVID, an extra 5, maybe even 6. So this is what you get. And you're getting these upsets. So, and it's a lot easier to do in basketball than it is in football. I don't see it happening anytime soon in college football, not the way that it's currently set up right now.
Right.
But, again, in the NILs and the transfer portal could potentially end up jacking that up too. We'll have to wait and see how things progress in the next few years. But as what we've seen so far in recent years, if you're the number 1 or number 2 seed, you getting that dub in the title game. Just about.
Where can the people find your great work and you on social media?
At the Yard HBCU. That's everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's been a little quiet, once the basketball tournaments have now ended. Of course, baseball season, softball season, bowling, outdoor track and field is going on now. But I'm also slowly getting myself ready for the spring games for football. So football season is right around the corner as well. So get ready to see me start doing previews, especially come May, June for Hero Sports with the conference previews. Awesome.
And please, y'all, check this brother's work out. Again, y'all, you see in the backdrop, yardhbcu.com. Sleazy Sports every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. Last but not least, herosports.com. He laid it out all for y'all. So check his work out. Those links will be in the description under this video once it gets uploaded to YouTube as well. So find his work there as well. So until next time, y'all, enjoy the Sweet 16. Enjoy the Elite 8. Have fun. Don't get too depressed over your shut-ass brackets. Until next time, have a good weekend. Take care. Peace out.